Hello everyone and welcome to Terrible Tirades. My name is Sean and I am joined by my best friend Paul. And I am glad that you can join us today as we go on a terrible tirade on bad drivers. Sit back and let us get mad for you on today's terrible tirade. Hey Paul, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How about you?
It's going great. I'm really glad that we can get this first inaugural episode actually edited and up, opposed to the last two that I've already recorded and edited and not put up because I just didn't feel satisfied with them.
Yeah, a third time's a charm or something.
Yeah, that's what they say, right?
Yeah. I think so.
I don't know who they are, but
I don't say that.
they have said that. Those people, they have said those things.
The Watchers in the Woods.
The Watchers, what's that from? I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. Maybe I made it up. Don't sue me.
I won't. Someone will. I won't.
I hope no one will.
Paul, we're here today. We're going to talk about some bad drivers. When I think of bad drivers, man, I just think of the absolute most annoying people on all of the earth. Just all of it. I don't know what agitates me the most when I'm in the car, but when I am in the car, I feel like I am the most enraged when I do get mad.
I try to, I think recently I've been trying to, not get as mad because I'm like, one day I'm going to flip somebody off and they're going to shoot me. But I still fucking, I'll yell at myself and turn up the music and, all that kind of shit. But
yeah,
I think sometimes I'm the bad driver.
There are times where I admit that I made mistakes. And when that does happen, I kind of turtle myself down a little bit and I'm like, oh, shit, damn it. Dang it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't want to make eye contact with them. But I have to say it's few and far in between when I'm the one making the mistake and when I'm dealing with people making the mistake.
True. Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that when I know someone's glaring at me after doing something stupid. It's like I wish I could be back in school when you would I don't know, nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about, but you set your folders up on your desk, you stand them up on end and you kind of hide behind them.
What do you mean nobody's going to know what you're talking about? I think people still do that, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, we don't have rotary phones anymore. Do we still have folders? I don't know. The folders are on your computer now. I'm a dumbass. What's a folder, Grandpa?
I mean, my daughter, who's in first grade, she has a folder, so I'm sure she has folders.
One day we'll be 9, you'll be talking to her grandkids, you still use folders?
And they'll just throw stones at you. Get out of here, Grandpa.
Probably, yeah.
Go back to the nursing home.
What are we talking about?
Bad drivers, which ironically a lot of people equate to older people. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like older people are ordinarily the bad drivers on the road?
I mean, I think I definitely at least used to, but
what do you mean?
At least now, you can take their license away probably when they get so old.
No. I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's any laws that prohibit anyone from driving just because of their age. That'd be age discrimination by the government, right? At least in America.
I mean,
we're talking about in America, but
I suppose so. But I mean, there should still be a test. If you're out there running people over, and you're are we chonies? Then they might need to do something to prevent any further involuntary manslaughter, I suppose.
Yeah, that mysterious they again. I assume you mean the government?
I don't know.
But
Illuminati.
I'm kind of the mind that if you can still... I agree with you. I think at a certain age, you should have to start to take, I don't know, not annual, but maybe once every 5 years or so, take a test It doesn't have to be anything excruciating, but just take a test to ensure that your faculties are still working upstairs so you don't, just run over a small child and think it's a pothole.
I don't like the written test, though. Just give me like the driving part. I think I failed the written test.
Really?
And then I failed the written test several times.
How many times?
But I passed the driving part the first time.
How many times did you have to go to the DMV to get your license?
Maybe like 3. I don't know. But this was when I lived in a much smaller town, Fairmont, and the DMV there was at the old mall that they tore down. Now that is nothing compared to the DMV in Morgantown. Like,
what do you mean nothing?
It's just like a small little dinky place, and nobody's ever there. And I'm, you're in and out, and it didn't seem like that big of a deal when I was a kid. And I mean, it must have not taken that long because everything seems like it takes an eternity when you're a kid. Like when you're waiting for Christmas, you like feel like, oh, it's taking years to get here. But now it's just like, oh, geez, again, I don't have any gifts. So yeah, it had to have just been really quick. But like, oh my God, you go up to the DMV up here, you're there all day, and it's terrible. And like, I think I'm getting a little off topic. I'm ranting about the DMV now, but like, it's to the point where I bring like every single form of documentation I own, because after I wait in the line for 2 damn hours, I am not going to let some angry elderly lady shun me away because I didn't bring my birth certificate and every piece of mail that I ever owned. So now, when I go up there, they're like, you don't need all this, son. I'm like, yes, I do.
Better save
yes, I do, because I know what happened last time. I am not going through this again, because you love telling me to go away.
I've definitely been there. And Sarah's been there even more specifically because, we're out of town. We are... Being military, we don't live there, but my home of record is still there. So I still have a West Virginia driver's license, but every time I go in, it's like, well, you need to prove your residency. Well, I don't live here. Well, then you can't have a license here. Well, I'm in the military. Prove it. Okay, I will. I pull out my ID card. That's not enough. What do you want? Like, what else do you need?
I'm glad you said ID card.
Why?
I don't know. There's worse things you could pull out.
But we are a little off topic. So, yeah, DMVs are absolutely atrocious, and we could probably make an entire episode just off the bureaucratic process that is the DMV.
That's a thought. I mean, that's where driving all starts, right? I mean, legal driving, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it all begins. The DMV. They give you the freedom to go out there and be a dumbass.
Yeah, legally they do, for sure.
It says my name is Paul here. That's weird.
I changed everybody's name to their first name. That way I couldn't get confused.
But you're still Mad Mustache.
I can change mine to Sean.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry. Off subject again, but that was just like...
You just noticed
why does that say Paul?
I changed everybody's. You had no say in it. Okay, yes, back to on topic. What are some things that bad drivers do? The very first thing that comes up to my mind is not using your turn signals.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it. I don't understand. Why? It takes nothing. It takes literally nothing to use your turn signal. People have fun. People have to actually, not... they have to think, I'm not going to use my turn signal whenever they're making a turn. Every time I make a turn, no matter how tiny the turn is, or even if it's on a road that's no one's near me, my mind immediately goes to, I turn on the turn signal. And for me to not turn on the turn signal means that I have consciously thought, I'm not going to do it because it doesn't affect anything around me or anybody. But people do this all the flipping time. They're always just not putting on their turn signal, and it drives me nuts.
I use it when no one's watching, even. I'll just turn it on. I'll be like, this is our little secret, whatever.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, I always put it on because it's just reflex at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it should be. Like, I don't understand. Like, so many times, like, like, a lot of times, if you would have used your turn signal properly, maybe I would have let you out, but I don't know which way you're going. Are you going, like, do you just need me to stop to let you go, or do you need both lanes to stop to let you go? Because if you just need me to stop to let you go and you got your turn signal on, then sure, I'll let you go. And if you need both lanes, I don't know if I'll stop or not. It depends on how chaotic it is, you know? So then, because I don't want to be stuck in one of those situations where, like, oh, I'm going to let you go. I'm waving you on, but yet you can't go any other way. And then, like, the person behind me is like, what's going on? You need to go. You've been trying to let this guy go for, like, 20 seconds now, and he can't. And then I'm just like, okay, I guess I got to keep driving. And then as soon as I drive, like, traffic in the other lane lets up, and they try to pull out at the same time, and then everybody's pissed. I helped no one.
Yeah, I
hope you understand that scenario I painted. It sounded crazy, but I'm like, those are like the kind of weird problems I encounter. It's like a mental thing.
It's the reason I have anxiety.
I don't know if it's the reason.
Well,
I think existence is the
reason. But all I can envision is I can envision a lot of scenarios, but one scenario that comes to mind, to the forefront of my mind at least, is where, for instance, you're waiting to make a left turn or something, and someone is coming, like, you want to get onto the main road, and to do so, you need to make a left turn onto the main road. But you have a car incoming towards you, but he doesn't have, or sorry, even if he does have on his turn signal, you just can't trust him or her because you're so jaded by people not using their turn signals or not using them properly, as in having them on and then not actually turning. So, like, they have their turn signal on for half a mile, and you wait until they are literally turning next to you. You're making eye contact with them as they're passing your windows. Like, okay, now it's safe to go.
That actually happened last week in my. I think I'm just very skeptical of everything. I'm a very non-trusting person lately, and that actually saved us because we're coming out of Barnes and Noble, you know, and Amber's trying to turn, and like this guy apparently, I'm like half paying attention. I'm like in the back seat hanging out with Elsie, and like this guy's coming up the hill, and he's coming up pretty fast, and she's like pulling out, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
And then she like kind of looks at me like weird, and I'm like, oh, he has his turn signal on, but he doesn't stop. And I'm like, did I do what was right there, or what's happening? I don't understand. Like, he was about to like plow into us, and he did have his turn signal on. But if I wouldn't have been so skeptical, we would have definitely been T-boned right there because that guy wasn't stopping.
I'm glad that you were skeptical. Let me ask you this. Whenever you're in a parking lot and you're backing out, you're backing out of your parking spot, do you turn on your blinker?
When I'm backing out?
Yeah, like let's say you're wanting to back out, and your butt end of your car is going to be going to the left, so you turn on your left-hand turn signal to let people know that you're backing out to the left. Do you do that?
Oh no, I would probably turn on the wrong one, being confused.
It's honestly, I don't meet a lot of people that actually do that. I feel like it's more of the older generation that used to do that. I feel like that used to be a taught thing. I do
Yeah.
whenever it's very congested in the parking lot, but not very often will I actually do that. But I was just curious if that's something that you did as well.
So you don't do that very often.
No, I don't. There are
That
times.
sounds hard to do. Like I would have to like really think like which way is my back end going. I don't normally drive in reverse, so it would be confusing to me. I guess I don't know. My brain works kind of weird. That's beyond my normal human capabilities. In my opinion, anytime I see like the little white reverse lights come on in the back, I'm just like anything can happen. Just stay back for a while.
Card.
And then the other day, like I was just like waiting forever, and like this guy has his reverse lights on. And I'm just like, I'm gonna take this guy's parking spot. He never moves. I'm like, you're just sitting in there with your foot on the brake in reverse indefinitely.
Okay, well that is annoying. He was sitting on reverse. I actually hate it when I'm in a parking lot and like I have my foot on the brake, but I'm on my phone or doing something because you have to turn the. Ordinarily now you have to have your foot on the brake to start the car. You should anyway, but it's good practice. But most cars require it.
I don't do that. I don't drive like a stick shift though, so.
Well, okay. Push button cars make you put your foot on the brake to start the vehicle.
Maybe I've had to do that in a push button car. I can't remember.
Well, regardless, so I'll sit there with my foot depressing the brake pedal, and then someone will just be waiting on me, and I won't even notice them because like I'm responding to a text or something, or I don't know, I'm looking at my phone for whatever reason, fucking looking at Facebook or some dumb shit, and I look up eventually because someone honks at me, which has happened more than once, and I look up and they're waiting for my parking spot, and now I'm petty, and I think that's one of the biggest issues with driving is because people get petty, and I am a very bad person when I get behind that steering wheel. Not saying that I'm a bad driver, but saying that if you're being crappy to me, I'm going to be double crappy to you, and I don't know why that is. Unless my family's with me, then I'm very cautious about everything I do, but
yeah,
if it's by myself, I'm going to be a total asshole to you. I'm not going to brake check you because that's stupid, and I'm not trying to like die on the road for you, but
yeah,
I'm going to slow down. I'm going to do petty things. You know, I'm not going to hit my brake, but I am going to take my foot off the gas. I'm not going to move out of my parking spot for you any quicker. In fact, I'm going to put it back in park. Like I'm that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's only one good time to be petty when you're driving.
When is it?
And that's when you're Richard Petty.
Ha. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I have a scenario for you, and I want you to let me know what comes to mind at least. So
Okay.
You're on the interstate. It could be by yourself or with your family, doesn't matter. But regardless, you're on the interstate, and in your rear view, you see this car that is just weaving in and out of traffic. He's going super fast. You know he's about to come up on you and, just zoom right by you. He gets right up to your taillights, almost kissing your back bumper, and then he just barely misses and squirts around you, right? And as he's passing you, you notice that like his whole right-hand side of his car is all scraped up. He's got big dents all over his car, and he just takes off. What's the first thought in your mind?
Push the horn and hold it for a minimum of 5 seconds.
5 seconds to assert dominance. Because you can't just do a little friendly beep. You gotta really hold it for a minimum of 5 seconds.
Yeah. I try not to flip people off anymore, but I do use the horn because when you're flipping somebody off, there's 100%, there's no doubt that you're like trying to tell somebody off. You know, you're trying to get them pissed. You're trying to say, you know, like, I don't like you. I don't like what you're doing. I hate you. I hope you have a bad day.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're honking your horn, that can mean many things. Like in some places, like, you know, like New York or Philly or something, everybody uses their horn like all the time, and like when somebody honks at you here, you get like offended. But in like cities, you have to use your horn. Like you're like honking, like I am coming over into this lane because there's never going to be a gap. It's like a form of communication.
But that's not why you're honking the horn, though, right? That's not why you're honking your horn in that situation.
Well, it could be like me just saying, hey, do you realize what you're doing? Do you realize what is going on? I am warning you that you're making bad decisions. And that's a little bit different than just saying F you. I don't know. That's just me.
I can assure
they're still going to get mad.
That individual knows what decisions they're making, and you're in the wrong in their mind.
All right. But I'm just saying, like, if they want to, like, fight me, I mean, they probably still will, but maybe they won't if I honk my horn versus flipping them off. I don't want to get into, like, a random fight with somebody, like... So, the one time, well, I mean, I've flipped people off a few times, but I've kind of stopped doing it lately for many reasons. Because one, like sometimes I'm driving the company car, and like I can't get in the habit of that. Because if I'm driving the company car and flipping somebody off, then they can just like look me up, call the number, and then I'm in big trouble. This it's not just a personal matter anymore. It's like I'm representing the company, and I did a big no-no. But it was right by, it was downtown, when you're driving down the hill and the police station is there on your left, you're going towards the brew pub.
Yes, I do.
So I think I'm like in the middle left lane, and a big old trucker is to the left of me. Oof. And they're like just like coming right over into my lane, just like taking over, about ready to plow into me. I obviously have to move. I flip the guy off.
Okay.
Well, he stops the vehicle, the fastest I've ever seen anybody stop an 18-wheeler, and he opens his door and he like gets out and starts like beating on my window like he wants me to come out and fight me.
When was that?
I'm just like, oh, this was years ago, driving with Zach, like many years ago. We're just driving around downtown. I don't know what we're doing. But, yeah, he's just like beating on my window, and I'm just like, yeah, my door's locked, bro. And I just drive away. I'm just like, you're just going to stand here looking like a dumbass in the middle of the road. So, yeah, I'm not... I'm not doing this right now.
See, I've never had a situation like that, so that totally makes sense where you're coming from, where you would never flip someone off. I've flipped people off pretty recently, actually. But going back to my story, not delving too much into what I just said about flipping people off, but going back to my story, I mentioned how the car was pretty beat up. It had scratches on its side, it had some dents on the bumper, so on and so forth. The first thing that comes in my mind whenever someone like that passes me super fast is like, well, no wonder your fucking car's all messed up. It's because you suck at driving.
Yeah.
First thing, always. It could just be someone else's fault that their car's all messed up. No idea. But in my mind,
probably not.
My mind, that's exactly why your car's all messed up.
Yeah.
What kind of car do you think that would be? Like, if you had to envision like the most generic bad car driver or bad driver car, what would that be?
Like a Dodge Shadow.
Dodge Shadow. Okay, that's not the one that I would have picked. I don't think. I'm thinking.
What would you have picked?
What is that called? The Dodge.
Oh wait, no. I changed my mind.
Oh.
Chevy Malibu.
Ooh, Chevy Malibu's high on the list. That's definitely high on the list. I'm thinking old, like really old Toyota Corollas.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Honda Civics that are really old, and then also the Dodge Neon.
Oh, yeah. Or Pontiac Grand Am, maybe.
Ooh, Pontiac Grand Ams. Yeah. I had a Pontiac Grand Am. Well, I tried to sell it to you. Remember that? Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that thing happened.
I mean, they're decent, I guess. Probably.
I would
have took it.
Okay. So let's say that same person who's driving the Dodge Neon. It's all scratched up, past you, blah blah blah. You catch up to it. Now you're at a red light, and you gotta look over at him, right? You have to. I'm looking over at him. Are you?
Oh yeah, probably.
All right, so you look over, and it is a very, very, very elderly person. Do your thoughts change?
Kinda.
So like mine do immediately. It's no longer like in all rage. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, Grandpa, get off the
Yeah.
road.
I mean, yeah. I guess. Yeah, you're right.
It's like it goes from I want to fight you.
You had to say, "Oh, Grandpa."
To being like, Grandpa, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's what you should do though. Like anytime anyone ever like does anything that pisses you off, like don't like scream at him, don't yell at him, don't flip him off. Maybe toot your horn a little bit, but like pull up right beside of them and just stare like dead hard into their eyes for like at least a good 5 seconds. Like make things get a little weird. I think you're both going to feel different.
I think it was in West Virginia for sure. I remember I must have still been in high school. I was probably on my way home from high school, driving probably at Pontiac Grand Dam. So I was a bad driver. And I'm driving, and I just, all of a sudden, I make a lane change, and I hear someone just honking their horn. And then I realized this guy, I cut him off. At the end of the day, that's what happened. I just didn't see him. He must have been in my blind spot because I did check, but he had to have been in my blind spot because I just didn't see him. And so, dumb high school me, I'm like, he's trying to get next to me now. He is trying to speed up to be like side by side with me on the interstate. So I'm like, hell no. And I am trying to go faster than him until eventually I get stuck behind somebody and he does get side by side with me. And then I had to live that exactly with what you were just saying. He's like making eye contact with me, just not even looking at the road, going 80 miles an hour side by side with me on the interstate. And I'm just like looking, like cocking my shoulder up a little bit higher and like not looking over there because I feel so guilty.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the worst feelings, though, when you know that you were the one who messed up.
I'm not sure, but I think I might have been the one who messed up today. So this is just like a weird conversation. I don't know for sure, but it's like the new roundabout. I guess the roundabout's been there for a while up by the town center.
On the mile
but no, like University Town Center or Granville or Star City or whatever you want to call it.
There with the roundabout actually.
Yeah. Well, at first, there was only like 2 ways to go on it. You're either gone towards like all the shopping places like Walmart and stuff, or you're getting on the interstate. But now there's like several different places to exit. You can go over towards Dunkin' and KFC, or there's like Menards and stuff up. There's all kinds of stuff up there now. And it keeps growing, and the problem is that like us crazy people down here in West Virginia, like we look at that and we're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Like if I'm living in like DC or Pittsburgh or something, sure, we're used to that stuff, but like nobody here except maybe like the college kids are like used to driving in a roundabout. But like I don't know, it seems like kind of like tight, and like when I have to like basically it's hard to like turn against the grain and go back around. So like I'm just gonna go through the roundabout and just loop around instead of like trying to pull across 4 lanes of traffic to turn around. And
yeah, that makes sense.
And it just seems like really narrow and tight. And I think I may have like veered off a little bit too far to the left. I'm not even sure I did, but I heard somebody behind me honking, and I was just assuming I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't, but I think I did.
Big roundabouts are not fun to drive in. I've never enjoyed them.
I don't like them. Yeah, we don't need them here.
I don't know how big that one is because it wasn't there the last time I drove up to that location.
Yeah, I mean it's just like maybe 3 lanes or something. I don't know. It's not like crazy or anything. It's nothing too wacky, but like
yeah,
I don't know. There's just parts of it that seem a little weird, and like I've just become like accustomed to like driving through it when there was like nothing up there. So like nobody was ever coming from like certain directions, and now they are. I never had to yield to anybody before, and now I do. I gotta be more careful on it now, and I think nobody else knows what they're doing either, so it doesn't help.
Yeah, I think the roundabout on the mile ground is what comes to mind for.
Oh yeah, my first mile ground or my first roundabout. Basically,
silly roundabouts. My first roundabout that I've ever experienced, I never actually drove through that one, but I had to be a passenger every single day going through it for a whole year in Bahrain, and it was a 5-lane roundabout, and it was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. People have no sense of any kind of awareness up there at that, in that location.
Oh yeah.
And they don't care. If Allah wills it, Allah wills it. All right. That's just what's going to happen.
I'm sure.
So
5, I don't think I would do too good in that.
It was scary every time. And what was even more scary is that we all had, stick shift vehicles, and the people that were driving had never driven a stick shift, and so they're like driving in this intense traffic and on a stick shift and had never driven a stick shift before. Terrifying.
That doesn't sound good.
No,
that'd be me if I had a stick shift. Like I've driven one like across the parking lot once, and it didn't go well.
Really? I learned how to drive my first stick shift in Afghanistan. It was impossible to mess up because
just something very basic.
It was on a truck called a Tata. And it was built Tata tough. But it was
nice.
It was a very very easy to learn on. Yeah.
Well, I need one of those because the one time I did it, it was just like somebody's car was in the way at Texas Roadhouse, and they're like, "Oh, here, you can move it," and they handed me the keys. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this, and they're like, "Yeah, that's okay." And then I just like stalled it out a few times, and then it was just very jerky. And then eventually, I got it to where he wanted it, and he was just laughing at me. I'm like, I guess you don't care too much about your transmission, so whatever.
Yeah, his clutch probably was on fire.
Joke's on you.
So do you think to be a good driver, you need to know cars necessarily?
I need to know cars.
So for instance, you just said his transmission was not doing well after that, but my mind went immediately to the clutch because that's probably what would have been burned out first, right?
Yeah.
So I think I have a little bit more mechanical knowledge on vehicles than you do, but that doesn't make me a better driver by any means.
You probably are a better driver than me, if I'm going to be honest, but I don't think that's what makes you the better driver. But
I think I've driven a ton more than you, just having to drive cross country numerous times.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Like, I mean, if being, mechanically inclined, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
If that made you the better driver, then why isn't Jeff Gordon's pit crew doing the race instead of him?
Touche. What's your body count as far as?
Whoa.
Well, as far as broken cars, how many cars have you crashed?
Oh, okay. Okay. I
Simmer
didn't know
down,
what
Paul.
this. I didn't know what was going on. Thought I was getting interrogated. I mean, that doesn't have to be my fault, right? Like,
I think that's...
like just if someone ran into me.
Well, let's do both. I mean, like, well, okay, no, you're right. Let's just do a total. What's the total amount of like car crashes or wrecks that you've been in?
Not a lot. Like someone ran into my Civic. Like they came into my lane because there was a tire in their lane, so it wasn't like 100% her fault. She was just kind of scared and didn't know what to do.
That's valid.
And then I pulled over and she was like crying. I'm like, hey, it's cool. But it was still your fault.
It's cool, but you got paid.
It's cool, but your insurance is paying for it.
Yeah.
And then the next one, because that was just like a minor scrape, like no big deal at all, But I mean, I still had to take it to get worked on. But then the next one, like, I was driving past like where Colasantes is, like that little intersection there by like the Exxon.
Yeah.
And I was just going straight, like through Westover towards where I live. And then like all of a sudden it's just like bam, something hit me on like the left side, and like the airbag deployed and like smacked me in the face, and I could like smell smoke and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? And then like some random bystander was just like prying the door open, like, hey, he's like, hey man, get out of there. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. I'm like trying to like think like, am I hurt? Like, I don't think I'm hurt. I'm not like bleeding. I'm good. And then like some guy just like tried to turn and somehow didn't see me, and
totally messed you up.
That was like the two main ones, other than like the one time maybe it was sort of my fault. I think I blame it more on Mother Nature, but like I braked. I might have got a little bit too close for the weather we were in, but like it was icy. I braked and like I just like kind of gradually slid into the back of someone, and then I think they just kept going. They like didn't even get out. Actually, there was one more that was my fault. Like if you're coming down off of Dorsey, like you're driving down by the graveyard.
Okay.
And you're going out into that long straight stretch there on the main
Don Knotts
road there. Like yeah, like by like across from like I don't know, like I think the Jeep dealerships right there.
Yep.
So there was a guy in front of me, and like I thought that he had pulled out for some reason. Like I thought like I think maybe he started to go, and like I just saw him start to go and like assumed that he went. And what I always do, like you pretty much have to turn your head like 180 degrees behind you to like make sure nobody's coming behind you. And I'm like, oh, I'm all clear.
Yeah.
I hit the gas, and then bam, I hit the back of him. And I'm like, oh, he did not go.
I've almost done that so many times. I've never actually done that, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then he gets out of his car, and I roll down my window, and I'm just like, oh damn, he doesn't look happy. And then all he says to me is like, I'm good. Your shit's a little messed up. See ya. And he just drives off.
Damn.
And then like I don't even like check it. I just like drive for a little bit, and then eventually I pull over to the gas station. I look, and it's just like one of these little square things. I'm not sure if it's like it like covers like some kind of a tow hitch or something. I just like clicked it back into place, and that was all it was.
Oh, okay. Well, you got very lucky there.
Yeah, but that was about all I remember.
As far as I can remember, the biggest, most traumatic one that I've ever had was at least whenever I was driving and I was not a passenger. I was driving and I was completely stopped, waiting to make a left turn. And it was only like a 35 mile an hour road, but it was very snowy outside. And when I say that, I mean that the roads had been treated already, and so there was no real reason for you to, I don't know, I'll get there in a second. But so I'm stopped. I'm trying to make a left turn, and I look up at the last minute at my rear view, and I see this guy. His head is just down into his lap. I assume he's on his phone. To this day, I can't tell you for certain if that's what he was doing. But he just slams into the back of me, and he hits me so hard that my vehicle goes across the lane of traffic coming towards me. Luckily, I didn't get hit again, but I did go past that lane and over the little barrier that was there. That's how hard he hit me. He was easily going 40, 45, and I was completely stopped.
That's pretty bad with not looking.
Yeah, and so he totaled my car, and it was really upsetting because I had just done a lot of front-end work on my car. I was really upset. It was a little Honda Passport. It was an awesome little 4x4. I loved it. But
so how did your interaction between you and this guy go?
So my interaction with him and it went like this. So he was driving a Ford F-150 pickup, probably like a 2007 model, something like that. I have to guess 2004, 2007, something like that. And when I first got out, at first I was a little dazed. My airbag didn't deploy, surprisingly enough, but I did get out, and I was a little dazed and a little like wobbly. But I looked over across the street where his car was, or his truck, and his head was down, and I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's passed out." So I like ran across real quick, and like I'm like, "Hey man, you good? You good? You good?" And he just like looks up at me, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good." And I'm like, "Oh Jesus Christ, here we go." And I make him turn off his truck because it's starting to smoke. The radiator's pushed in on itself, and it's starting to smoke a little bit. And then I'm like, "Okay, well, we're gonna call the cops because this kind of sucks."
Yeah.
And so the cops come. They end up ticketing him for just driving too fast for the weather conditions, and because he didn't end up admitting that he was texting whenever they got there, and then it was my word against his. But after that happened, I've always had a dash cam up, ever since then, I've always had a dash cam just because of that guy. And
would that have caught him though? Wasn't he behind you?
He was behind me. I have a dash cam front and back.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't it? They still call it a dash cam if you put it in the back.
Yeah, I mean it's a dash cam, but with a back cam as well. But the reason I have that now is because this mother trucker, he pulled one of the oldest tricks in the book. He didn't have insurance. But he had the card, and so what he did was he got insurance, and then once he got the insurance card, immediately canceled the insurance policy. And so he had the card to make it look like he had insurance, but he didn't actually have insurance. So he didn't get ticketed for not having insurance. And when I called his insurance company, they were just like, "Yeah, he hasn't had insurance with us for like 3 years. So sucks to suck, nerd."
So did they not like check the expiration date on the card then?
No, the expiration date was good. That's what I'm saying. So
how can you get it for 3 years at a time?
I mean, it depends on your policy and everything.
Mine's like probably like, I don't know, biannually, quarterly. I thought I'd get like a new card and it expires.
That's how mine is. For
what kind of like backwards USAA insurance is he going through?
What was it that he had? It was State Farm or something, maybe. I can't remember.
Oh, really?
I can't remember. But I just remember like he had not had insurance with them for at least over a year. And when I called them, they were just like, "Yeah, nothing we can do, so bye."
That
I tried
sucks.
to sue him in small claims court, but then it got thrown out because they couldn't serve him the paperwork because, ironically enough, the address on his fake insurance card was not accurate. So they couldn't serve him the court papers.
So wait, if I need to get out of like a trial, I just move?
I mean, it depends on the severity. Because whenever you do small claims court, you have to. It's on you, the person who wants to pursue the legal action, to serve the papers to the individual. And at least in Kansas, they offered you could pay the sheriff's office to go and serve the paperwork, but you had to know the guy's address. So if you didn't have that information, you'd have to figure out a way to find that information. And there are ways, but
kind of bullshit.
It is.
You have to pay. You have to pay the sheriff.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, what are our taxes for? Aren't they like a public servant or whatever?
They are, but that doesn't.
So
benefit
I'm paying them now. So do I gotta tip them too?
They don't get anything out of the small claims court, so that's why they. Yes, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. I was pretty upset about it.
I mean, how am I supposed to know where these people live? Like, it's stupid.
It is a very not fun process, and I pray.
So there's like no way you can win there unless you like become a bounty hunter or something.
Yeah.
What do I have to do to become a bounty hunter?
I mean,
what are like the legal things there? I think
probably just have to do some kind of like online course. Watch a YouTube video, take a test.
Okay.
Pay the government some way.
Yeah, that's bounty hunters. I don't know what I'm saying. It's like a weird concept to me. Like that's real. It seems like a made up thing for like Hollywood movies or something.
Seems like something that would have died out after the Wild Wild West, but no, it's still very prevalent because people jump bonds all the time.
Oh yeah, there's that like Patty Mayo guy, but
he's not real.
He's not real.
You didn't know about that? That's all fake.
Nah.
He pays all those people.
Really?
He pays all the
somebody was watching that and they were like really into it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's a couple people that just absolutely tear into him because for a while at the beginning of his YouTube career, he was not outright saying that he was fake. And then someone called him out. I want to say it was Donut Operator, a YouTuber, called him out and was like, "Oh, this guy's a fraud." And
is dog fake too?
I think he does actually have a legit license for bounty hunting.
Yeah,
but
he looks more fake than
Patty Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what was the recent case where the young, I want to say 20-something-year-old girl disappeared and her boyfriend, I can't think of the word.
I have no idea. I don't really watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Too much.
Anyway, we're way off topic anyway, and I think that's probably a good time to wrap it up now that we've talked about bounty hunters. We've really derailed.
That's what I do. I cannot stay on topic.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
That's how my brain works.
Well, it was a great conversation, and I definitely felt like we got a tirade out of it, and I feel like I got something off of my chest. I feel a little bit lighter, although I'm definitely about to have to go to the bathroom and make myself even more lighter. Not that anybody needed to know that.
That means pooping.
Thank you, Paul. Paul, I really appreciate you coming on and just talking and going on this tirade with me today. And I look forward to going on more terrible tirades with you in the future.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been real.